Okay, we're back with the About Us page for the week 3 lab. The About Us page is a lot like the index page in terms of basic tagging. So in the spirit of laziness, I'm going to copy the top of this file and paste here. I just did that. Update my title here. Complete my thought down at the bottom and the HTML. Okay. This is the same kind of heading here as the other page. So this is supposed to be a jump list. I'm going to go ahead and put the names in, but I think I'm gonna wait to do the jump links until after I've decided what to do down here with the various people in the list. So just to put in people's names though, we've got Peter Bain, Scott Horton, John Wages, Keith Johnson, who is the person at the bottom? Rhonda Baird. Okay. This looks like a short description, so I'm going to call it a P. And so the stuff down here is a little bit messy. Oh, we haven't talked about ampersands yet. So before I get started with all the tagging, I'm just going to say that it turns out that an ampersand symbol in HTML is an important symbol, and you can't just say and in there. If you want an actual ampersand, you use amp. And this is because the and sign, as you can see from this drop-down list that appears, has a lot. Is the signal to HTML that this is a special character coming up. So things like the actual less than sign, which of course is the way you start a tag in HTML, would be LT. And then over on the right, over here, we can see what the symbol actually is. So if you want an actual ampersand sign, you have to actually say AMP with the semicolon. That aside, taking a look at what is going on here, I'm just going to try to massage this so that it's somewhat consistent. Boy, some of these people have emails, some of them don't. Okay, we'll just roll with it, I guess. So there's a couple different ways that I could organize this. My first idea is that I could make a description list. So I'm going to do that idea first, and then I think I'm ultimately not going to like that idea for the same reasons that I usually don't like description lists. But let's go there first, and then I will talk about it as I go. So for the description list, which used to be named dictionary list, and thus the abbreviations for the tags make much more sense if you call it a dictionary list. The DT tag is for the term, and then everything that's associated with this term and gets to be a DD. So here's a DD, and this is actually a good example, better than the previous example that I had, because some of these DTs will have 3 DDs, some will have 2 DDs, and that's absolutely totally fine. It looks like this website is trying to prevent spam by doing this sort of .net at and dot, so that a web crawler can't go in and scrape the email address and spam you with it. It's a good idea. There are some other ways to do that too. Hopefully we'll get to that later in this class. Here's that last DD. So this is an example of my first dictionary term, and then all the various dictionary definition tags that go after it. Similar thing going on here, but this one, as we can see, only has a few of these because he just doesn't have as much contact information, or very different contact information, as the first person does. John Wages, dictionary term. So I'm going to go through and do these all, and then we'll take a look at what it looks like in the browser, and then I'll do another version, which is a different way, which would also be completely valid to do, I think. Okay, a couple more. this list is a bit of a challenge because there's just so much information here, and it's kind of difficult to read. So I think this is, for example, I think this is all part of the same item. It's hard to know though. Difficult to figure out. Just have to, sometimes you just have to make your best guess. Permaculture designer and teacher, I think that's all one here. Editorial services is its own thing. And then fiber arts, permaculture guild is its own thing. Okay, so this would complete it if I were doing it as a dictionary list. So let's just see what that looks like in the browser. Have a quick look. I think I linked to it, so I can click it. Yep. And so this is what that looks like. So my other option, and then I also have to put, oh, you know, while I'm here, I also have to put in images. So let me do that here. Where would I put the images? Well, maybe right next to the person. That might work. Assets, images, Peter. Let's just have a quick, Alt. Let's have a look at what the default size is. Actually pretty good. Looks a little weird as the DT, just in terms of layout. The problem with the DTs and DDs is that you have not very many options when it comes to laying stuff out, which is another reason I don't really like them too much. Well, is that really true? Yeah. The problem with the DTs and the DDs is always that there is no way to associate these DTs with these DDs in any kind of programmatic way. So styling with CSS becomes more difficult. But I'm going to go ahead and put the image tags in, and then I'll do some stripping later when I show a different way. So this is Scott. Okay, so I'm not going to torture us by making you watch me do every one of these things. I'm going to do this one and then stop, but here's an example of that. Okay, so here's a couple with it filled in, so that would be what it would look like if you had it as a description list. So in the next video, I'm gonna go and complete these, inserting these images, but in the next video, I'm gonna clean up and do this in a different way that's not a DL.